Blog Talk Radio.
Live from the nation's capital, it's Quintessential Listening, Poetry, with host Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram.
Michael Anthony Ingram, and welcome to Quintessential Listening Poetry. I'm here tonight with one of my favorite all-time poets, the one and only Catfish McDaris. Catfish, are you with me?
Yes, sir, I sure am.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask you a question. Where, when, and how often do you write? Because you're quite prolific.
Well, I write everywhere. Wherever I am, if I think of a word or a sentence or a line or, wherever I am, I've always got a couple pieces of paper and a pen in my pocket. That goes back to my postal clerk days. I was a postal clerk for 34 years, and I always had to have a pen in my pocket, to correct zip codes, but I was always writing lines. I'd see somebody and I'd write down what they looked like and what they were talking about and stuff like that to use at a later date. And all the time. I'm always writing. I'm writing in my head, and where I have my little man cave, it's a room upstairs, in my house. My wife on me all the time, for dusted and all that stuff, but, too busy for that.
Oh, yeah. I can understand that. I should share with the audience that tonight is primarily an open mic, in a sense. And what I'll do is ask questions throughout the course of the evening, and we have a caller already. We have a caller. Should I bring this person on? All right.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hey. How's
Hello.
it going?
Hey, Kat, and everybody. This is Gannat Wise in Kansas.
Hey.
Well, hello. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it's time to start sharing some poetry. Kat, you want to get us started?
Sure. I'm going to give you one that I got recorded here. Of the Statue of Liberty. Her ass was fire. Her ass was the sun, the moon, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Her ass laughed and cried. It could make brave men cowards. It could start wars. It could make rich men beggars. It could make saints into sinners. It could turn water into whiskey. It could make the rain come down. When she walked through the Louvre, it turned the Mona Lisa into the scream. Her ass was of biblical proportions. Her ass started playing kazoo, but soon mastered all wind-choir instruments, including the slide trombone. Her ass made lions and bears roar with hunger. It wasn't Queen of Sheba doing a twist. Cleopatra in her prime, walking like an Egyptian. Marilyn Monroe in a sheer white dress. Her ass was Elvis Presley's blue suede shoes. Jimi Hendrix's guitar from Woodstock. It was Steve McQueen's motorcycle from The Great Escape. A winning Powerball was all the words from Pablo Neruda, Lai Po, Tu Fu, Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Her ass was a saber-toothed tiger, a killer bee, a Spanish fly, a zillion tarantulas crawling up the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Her ass was the Great Pyramid at Giza, Chichen Itza, the Taj Mahal, Stonehenge. Her ass was the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, naked doing cheers on the Great Wall of China. As her ass retreated, I poured gas all over my body and waited for lightning.
Wow, that was quite a poem. Tell us about the creation of it. Tell us about the creation of it.
That one took a little while because, I was thinking about the ass of I was thinking about Statue of Liberty. About that same time, I wrote one about. I've been writing about Trump. I'm kind of disgusted with him, but I don't want to get into politics. Too much with him, with his ass on the line now. But yeah, I like that one. And I met up with this guy. His name is Bo Blue, and he animates stuff. So he's really good at animating stuff, and he puts music to it and everything. He put that bass on there and a little horn, and he's got the Statue of Liberty, dancing, and twirling around and stuff, So I liked it a lot.
All right, very nice. We've got two other callers. Hold on one second, and we begin with a round of poetry. All right, area code 301. You're on the air. 627. Hello?
Hello.
Maybe they're here to listen. Yes, hello? Maybe they're here to listen. All right. Here's the next one. Area code 310-850. You're on the air.
Hi, it's Alexis Roan-Fancher calling from Los Angeles.
Hello, Alexis. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. Your friend Catfish is here.
Hi, Alexis.
Yeah, I know. I was tuning in to see what new mischief he's been up to.
And Gwinote. Gwinote is here as well.
Yep.
All
I
right.
got a standing ovation from Kansas on that last poem.
Oh,
Thank
did you?
Man.
All right.
Man.
I love that poem. That and I love the read.
Very nice. Well, let's get started.
Yeah.
Let's get started with a round of poetry, if that's okay. If that's okay, unless there's a question for Catfish right now. All right. Well, we'll go in this order. Catfish, you again. Gwinote.
You want me to go again?
Well, let's see. Gwinote, you start us off, all right?
Okay. I got one.
And then Alexis, and then I'll go. Then Catfish again. All right. Perfect.
All right. This one is called Reno Pete. Reno Pete's my uncle. He drove a Lincoln Zephyr down to Caliente, fled to San Diego with the money in his shoes, circled back to Reno, then to Laughlin, Kansas City, danced with all the women on the way. Lost the Lincoln out in Vegas, vowed he'd never marry. Off to Louisiana, ended up blacked out by Frisco Bay. The women said he danced and drunk or sober, never minded wins or losses, never minded cuts or bruises, never wept nor cast aspersions, never slowed his way of going, always happy, always spending, always flashing teeth and dancing, teaching how it's done his way. They knew he was a boxer, and therein was his dancing grace and spinning moves and laughing, and yes, he was a ladies' man, but never on the ropes of love, and never down for long, much less for 10. Spectator shoes of black and white and moves transcendent lit the night. He danced and fought and gambled and made his weekly comebacks to delight the whirling women, light up another fight card, head for Caliente, the money in his shoes.
Wow.
I like
That's
that one.
Reno.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Reno.
Very nice. All right.
Thank you.
All right, Alexis.
Yeah.
Yes. Am I
Yes.
up next?
Yes, you're up next. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to read one called Midnight in the Backyard of Lust and Longing. The sophists are at it again. Screw yous ricochet off our common walls. Invectives landmine my window. You cheating bitch! Like clockwork, this drunken Friday night climax to their ceaseless lovers' quarrel. I'll kill you, I hear the big one growl. And then the smashed plates, the screams. By the time the cops arrive, it's a full-out brawl. The two women spilling from their back door, tussling across the no-man's land between their tiny backyard and mine. Worse than animals. This time it's Holly, the younger one, drives to the patrol car, yellow hair wilding, small hands cuffed behind her back, kicking at the cops in those Daisy Dukes, an army jacket wafting her silhouette. More clothes than she had on the last time the cops rolled up, or the time before. It's almost dawn, and the trees shiver in the fog. Raccoons slink through the tall grass. Marie, Holly's better half, paces the yard in a blue bathrobe and slippers, smoking a cigarette, sobbing as the cops jam her lover into their car. Watch your head, she cries, and flings herself across the yard, lunges for Holly through the glass. Baby, baby, she sobs, the reason for their discord forgotten. Holly mouths a sloppy kiss. Marie opens her robe, presses herself against the glass. Can you believe it? I would give anything to be loved like that. There you go.
That's beautiful.
My
Give anything
God.
to be loved like that. Wow.
Just like
Nice.
that, baby.
Okay, I'll try one.
All right.
Okay, this is called Jules and Jim Are Gone, or Dear Friends of Francois Truffaut, 1962. I dreamed of my plan to see Jean. We below the cerulean sky, high above the indigo beaches of the Côte d'Azur. She in the passenger seat, beside it like wine in our love. The playfulness of Candide still floating in the air. I hesitated, lost, and miles from the next exit. An unexpected knock on the door. Charcoal memories had decided to visit me again. Depressed and lonely, they rubbed against me like a mating guinea bird. I struggled to understand. I cursed in the lazily daylight. I moaned in the sable-covered moonlight. Exasperation escaping through my throat. A feeling of dread crawled over my body. Beckett peacefully slept while I waited for Godot. Gasping anticipation of a non-existent character in a play. I hesitated, lost, and miles from the next exit. Perhaps the past will repeat itself. I breathed in and out to this thought. I had wrestled with the obsidian nights before, tenderly held my own bloody defeat. The deafening silence of an unfulfilled life. Victory unattainable in a one-sided skirmish. The war drum suddenly silent. Murkiness moved on and knocked on a new door. The strains of Lily Marlene in the distance. I hesitated, lost, and miles from the next exit. I dreamed of my plan to see Jean. We below the cerulean sky, high above the indigo beaches of the Côte d'Azur. She in the passenger seat, beside it like wine in our love. The playfulness of Candide floating in the air. We turn left on Rue du Temple. Blue-stained memories await us there. That's me.
Sounds
That's
good,
lovely.
man.
All right.
Hey, you guys you and Alexis are rubbing up against stuff, man. What's the deal there?
We're kindred spirits. We have been since we met many years ago.
Oh,
That's right. Well, let me ask you a question, Catfish.
Yeah.
What is your poetry writing process? What do you do? How do you do it? What do you do?
Well, I just write out a bunch of lines, and like mostly I get a whole bunch of scraps of paper, where I write stuff. Like if I go into a period, like this last one I wrote like a little chapbook, and it's going to be published. It's called New Mexico Zia. Now the Zia is the center, center's emblem for the New Mexico state flag. New Mexico became a state in 1912, but the Zia, you have to Google that, and it's like for the four directions, like the Indians used to have, like they blow sage to the four directions, and everything was in a circle. It wasn't like the white man that kept everything in like squares and stuff. They believed in the sun and the moon and the herds and all that, And this little book that I wrote, it was like mostly about New Mexico, where I grew up, and Mexico, where I traveled and stuff after I got out of the Army. And so I just kept pouring facts in there that I liked, and then I was going to send it out as like an e-book, but this guy, he got a hold of it, and he says he wants to publish it. So I says, go ahead, And then I got another guy, he called me up, and he says, hey, man, let's do a book, together. So we're working on this nasty one. It's called Meat Grinder, and he wants to come out with that. So I just, sometimes I get some old stuff and rewrite it, or, send some stuff out if I like a book, a magazine, or something like that. And, yeah, it's easy for me to write stuff. The thing is, and that's the joy in it to me, is the actual writing. I don't go out and perform, that often. If somebody wants to give me some money, I think about it, but I'm getting too old, man. I'm 66 years old. I don't look that good. I see these old actors on TV and stuff, and I say, man, they need to retire, man. So anyway, that's how I feel about it. I mean, if I looked good like Alexis, I would go out and do it, man. But
all right, Alexis.
I'm over the hill.
Okay. And on that note, we'll be right back. Right. My name is Michael Anthony Ingram. I'd like to welcome you to Quintessential Listening Poetry. I'm here with the one and only Catfish McDaris and friends, Renault and Alexis. How is everybody? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Doing great.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm going to see if I can bring this person on again from area code 301.
Hello, Dr. Ingram. It's Hiram LaRue.
Hiram LaRue.
Yeah,
how are
you were
sir?
right. I had the phone on mute. I'm sorry about that. Listen, I'm just here to enjoy Mr. McDaris's poetry. I've heard about him, and I was interested in listening in. So thank you for bringing him to air, and thanks for doing all you're doing with the poetry in the greater D.C. area and in the blogosphere, as they say. Really appreciate all your Dr. Ingram.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hiram. I really appreciate that coming from you. All right. Well, Catfish, you're on.
I'm on, huh? Okay, here we go. 27 hammerheads circling ever closer. 6 mailboxes of rejects. A geisha with crotchless panties in a blue silk stork robe. Confucius love, the fear of God, and the love of sin. Don Quixote eating peyote, while wolves and grizzlies and Tasmanian devils and cat-sized mosquitoes try to drain your blood in murderous rage. She never knew I was allergic to mine. Charlatan holding hands with magic. 27 hammerheads circling ever closer. The end.
All right. All right. 27 hammerheads. Let me ask you a question before we continue. What was an early experience where you learned that poetic language had power?
I don't know. I think when I started reading Tarzan of the Apes when I was a kid, and I read comic books, and when I was in the Army, I used to read a lot of westerns, Louis L'Amour, and all that, everything that would fit in my pocket. They called it pocketbook. I'd read it, So I decided I was going to try to write something. So I wrote Reader's Digest. I wrote a story for Humor in Uniform, and they sent me a check for $75. And I said, "Damn, man, that's pretty good." And that's the biggest money I ever made. Now I made $100 one time off a poem, man. But I thought that $75, man, that was a hook, man.
All right.
And
all right.
And it's been fun, You meet people for a long time and stuff. Hanging out with you and G-Man and Alexis and stuff, I mean, you meet a lot of good people, and especially with the web the way it is, you can meet people like this Mr. LaRue who just called in.
Mr. LaRue, yes. Yes.
LaRue,
well, let me ask you a question. Mr. LaRue, Hiram LaRue.
Okay.
He's an incredible poet out of the D.C. area.
Okay.
Yeah, he does a lot in terms of world hunger. So he's a great man. Great man. All right, I'm going to call you G-Man. You're on.
Okay. This one was from, it's the first poem in a book that I wrote called Horses See Ghosts, and it's called Penumbra and the Cellar Door, and it's about the day that the eclipse happened here in Kansas. And I was out in the pasture with the horses. Pretty word, Penumbra, deserving of a poem, and Cellar Door, 2 more together, a gift from some English teacher many, many years ago when I was in 3rd grade. She said the words and said they were so lyrical, and some words, when combined, had that magic beyond the meaning. It cut a pathway in my mind, though it puzzled me for years until it didn't, and I understood some of what she meant. The eclipse mooned Kansas yesterday, and with the cardboard I wear, I registered the slight sight of sun, the crescent slimmer than any moon on any Arab flag. And then the word penumbra flared around the full black moon, and grass was individualized, no longer just a pasture, but single stems, dimensional. My horses grazed around me, their grass pulse squeaks the only sound. One gazed around when darkness rose among the brome and said the equine equivalent of, and went back to grazing. I may have had a rapture of the dark where I quit breathing for a moment, but it passed with the moon and time began for me again. Thin, tattered veils of clouds slid high and fast across the moonbit sun. Then it was whole again, and so was I. Penumbra, cellar door, I prayed. That's it.
That's a good one.
Wow.
Cellar door.
All right. Thank you.
Your last horse
Yes.
died, right, G-Man?
A big, yeah. She was gone in March. Yeah, I don't have any anymore. They're all gone. But you were talking about some of us old guys should just retire. Well, hell, I'm just getting started. I'm
all right. I'm old too. I'm old too. I'm just getting started. Alexis, you're on.
All right. This one is called The God for Broken People. It begins with an epigraph by Roxane Gay. There is a God for broken people. This is the God for the second rate, the one who waylays you at the party, plies you with bourbon, fucks you in the kitchen, makes you walk home in the rain. This God shines in the runoff. This God hustles the night. This God minds the maimed, culls emotional cripples off the top like cream. This God is a shape shifter, a dumpster diver, the God who loiters on the corner of Dolorosa and Despair. This God drinks alone. The God for broken people trolls the city for discards, marries the exploited with the lost. This God sweeps up the miscreants, gusts their darkness into light. This is the God of no hope, no money. This God has your back when you backslide. This God bets on you to fail, hides in your broken places. This God is willing to wait. When you're ready to surrender, remember, this is your last best chance. This God will not stick by you, won't give you false hope. This God will kill you or save you. Choose.
That's it. Sounds good.
That's it.
Sounds great.
They're making me
Thank you.
Got a question. A question, Alexis.
Yeah.
Where does Roxane Gay's lines end? How many lines in does it end?
It's just there is a God for broken people. That's it.
Oh, okay.
The rest of it is mine.
I think she'd dig that poem.
I just started riffing on that line. You know, there's a God for broken people. Well, damn, yeah, that's good news.
Oh, that was great.
Thank you.
Loved it.
Yeah. All right, I guess it's my turn again. This is called Black Alice Sang On in Neverland. Black Alice was never perfect, although she had perfect thoughts. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to turn the page here. Let me start over. Black Alice was never perfect, although she had perfect thoughts growing up in small town North Carolina. Thoughts of her mama's sweet potato cornbread and hot watered cornbread again sitting on the kitchen stove. Thoughts of what the world would look like when she reached the perfect age. Now she's reached the perfect age. Where did those perfect thoughts go? Black Alice's life was never perfect either, although she would proudly tell you, any new listener she'd meet, that it was. She'd share heartfelt stories about her perfect children and her perfect husband who worked the perfect job. Never a day of complaint she'd proudly share with those who would listen. Those who knew her well shook their heads and chuckled in disbelief and watched how that perfect lie would grow on her perfect tongue like a pair of old shoes forgotten on the front porch during the hard southern rain. Black Alice never sang in the choir, although she was often overheard singing softly in the back of the church, singing in perfect pitch and swaying proudly in an imaginary perfect long white robe, trimmed with gold sacred hymnal in hand. Reading musical notes she did not perfectly understand, the glory of her uplifted voice made up for this small indiscretion. Yet in her mind, thoughts of perfection of what saved her. Each night, her perfect husband walked in, mad and swinging at the world, fists flying like fury, striking her face like lightning. Soon the storm would be over. A quick, I love you, baby. You know I do. Her perfect husband would softly whisper in her ear as he nibbled on her neck and plant a wet kiss on her raw, bruised, yet no longer perfect cheek. Black Alice sang on in Neverland.
That was a great one. I like that.
Damn. Great.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Hi.
That was a perfect poem.
Black Alice.
Black Alice in Neverland.
What?
We've got a caller. Let me bring this person in. Okay. Area code 301710. You're on the air.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Michael. Hi, Catfish. Hi, Gwinnett and Alexis.
Hi. How you doing?
It's Marianne.
Well,
fantastic. I hadn't heard your voice in a long time.
oh man, I'm crawling out from the stack of papers. Although they've been interesting ones. Yeah.
Well, would you like to share a poem?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad. I think I'm going to read one of the poems that Mendez just published on Ramingo's Porch. I think I'll do In the City of Churches. That's the first one. In the City of Churches, she spent all Sunday not finding one, as if they had raced ahead of her plodding path, as if her younger self had wished them away. Instead, the streets brought her cafes, cookbooks in Polish, a zoo of toothy animals, dark red flowers, crushed on the sidewalk. She thought she was dreaming, passing a wooden house, fading yellow amidst the brownstones. She wondered if the church she'd find would be wooden as well. Its stained glass made of tissue paper. Its priest with its back to the congregation. Lithuanian, not Latin. In this church there would be no organ, no choir. 6 or 7 people from her family's black and white photographs would loiter in the pews as the night hung on, the last notes of a hymn. That's it.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Gorgeous.
Okay.
Yep.
Marianne, let me ask you a question. Catfish.
Yeah.
Do you think someone, and maybe others can chime in too, do you think someone could be a poet if they don't feel emotions strongly?
No, I don't think so. I think they got to feel the emotions, the words, they got to feel everything, nature, or love or something. They got to write from the heart. You can't just, I don't feel nothing, I just write something, like Hallmark or something. Even them Hallmark writers got to feel something,
Yeah.
I don't think they do it. Hey, Marianne's teaching one of my stories now. I'm surprised the roof in her classroom hasn't fallen in. No, one of my better
what about
stories,
others?
though, not too bad.
What about others? What do you think? What do others think about
Angels
that?
and Cowboys. Or Cowboys and Angels.
Angels and Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we even got to hear you read, too.
Yeah, I even read her an MP3, and they listened to it in their class and tried not to snore.
No, I doubt they would snore. Do others share the same opinion? That you need to have some level of emotion to be a poet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you'd be kind of lost without it. I mean, what else do you tap into?
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
The trick is to tap in and then tap back out,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Powerful. All right, Catfish, you're on again.
Okay, this one's a new one. It's called The Man That Brought a Singing Fat Lady and a Violin to a Gunfight. This is, of all that is written, I only love what is written in blood. Nietzsche. Okay, my cat's raising hell here. Surrounded by dead guardian angels, listening to the Mephistopheles of Los Angeles by Marilyn Manson, warming hands and face above the hellfire in a 55-gallon barrel, dreaming of dancing with a senorita in Guadalajara, palm trees, figs, and dates in Damascus, driving thunderbirds through a sequoia and zebras and swallowtails in the Mojave. Shackled by my years, gravity sucking my energy, the sky and ceilings piss on my head, the walls yawn in boredom. Nobody laughs at the ugly mirror. Guns mean noise and chaos. Death should be up close and personal with a lovely serenade. The end. I like that the end. I just learned that from Dancing Bear. Oh, you guys know when I'm the end. It's kind of creepy, you know, but then I said, what the hell? The end. That Porky Pig cartoon. The end.
All right, Gwynnoch, you're on the microphone.
Okay. This one is called Horses See Ghosts. It's no cat, no fox, no large bird walking that has their ears and eyes engorged. No dog, no coyote that brings them to such rapt attention. No blowing bag that skips and snags and makes them look like they are statuary stone and mesmerized. One snorts and blows and shakes his head, but otherwise he's a concrete horse and cannot move or he would run. The other does not move at all, her head held high and nostrils wide, withers quiver. If it's a ghost they see, it holds their thrall. I align my gaze to theirs and see nothing but the blowing brome, yet I feel the vibe. With them, a friction travels up my spine. I holler, go, that breaks the spell. They run and buck, throw clods into the haunted air. Their memories short, begin to graze. Next.
That's a good one.
Their memories short.
If you know, G-Man is also a sculptor, and he makes metal horses. And I can see him making a poem about one of those metal horses, man, and they are beautiful. Go on G-Man's, connect with him, and go on his site and look at some of his sculptures, man. They've been all over America and probably all over the world.
Wow.
If you know what a plasma cutter is, you know G-Man.
Okay. Well, welcome, G-Man. A man of many talents. All right, Alexis. Alexis, you're on.
All right. This is called When Your Stepdaughter Warns You Not to Let Her Roommate's Cat Escape. It's like she's had a premonition. After she leaves, you'll explore her off-campus apartment, snoop in her drawers, try on her graduation cap. You will smoke her dope and drink her last Bud Light. The two of you have never been close. You'll read the roommate's diary, take notes. The cat, a Tom of indeterminate age, will rub his thin orange body against your ankles. You'll walk into the bathroom to pee, gag at the litter box teeming with hardened turds, avoiding the ones on the floor. The ammonia of cat piss mixed with the unmistakable scent of used Kotex pads will leak into the hall, where it will mingle with 4-day-old Mexican food and pizza stuck on plates in the kitchen. You'll recall your stepdaughter's slovenly ways, how badly she treated you, how relieved you were when she left home. The cat will pace, yowling at the bathroom door like Tom Petty. But when you put him in the litter box, he'll balk, stare up at you with marmalade eyes, nudge you toward the front door. It will be an act of mercy. Later, you will sit on the stained couch where you'll watch reruns of forensic files in the fading light and wait for your stepdaughter's return. Then you will deny everything. The end. Thanks, Catfish.
Right.
I'll take that from JP too.
I like that. The end. We're going to have to stop that. That's from JP Dancing Bear. Poet.
Fabulous poet. Really fabulous poet. And he runs First Daily, which is
yes, he does.
a fabulous site.
He's been on the show.
Yeah.
He's been on the show. All right, Alexis. Thank you. Well, this next piece is titled Woof. W-O-F-F. No. W-O-O-F.
W-F-F.
It was an inauspicious day when he decided to unloosen life's leash. His frayed black leash had become too tight, clawing with his bedraggled neck with no regard for the anger or worse bottled up in his throat. He couldn't scream or ask for release to romp, play, or run free. He couldn't pull and lunge at everything or, heaven forbid, speak to Mrs. June Jackson, the beaten-down young woman who often blushed in his presence. So he packed up his belongings in a brown-stained paper bag, opened his unguarded gate, and ran away. The end.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's great.
It's great. It's great to hear your poems, Michael.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't share them very often, so I'm a little nervous, but thank you all for indulging me. Let's take a brief break, and we'll be right back. We are back again. I'm Michael Anthony Ingram. If you'd like to call in, the call-in number is 646-787-1631. And Catfish, a question for you as we continue this journey. Does writing energize or exhaust you?
Energizes me, I think. Yeah. You get fired up when you think you got one, you know. It's like catching a fish, man. You know, you got one and it's fighting, trying to pull you in. Mm-hmm. And then even if you get it out, if you want to turn it loose, you can throw it back in, you know. Unless it's a catfish, and they usually swallow the hook, so you got to rip out their gut.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
The guts ripped out. Ain't no use throwing them back in there. They ain't no good. They just float belly up. Might as well eat the son of a bitches. Yeah.
All right. Well, you're on for another poem.
Okay, I'm going to go a little nasty here. This one's called Drinking with a Talking Booger. The little green man climbed out of the can and said, "You are a dumb, drunk motherfucker, if you can see me." I shrugged and laughed. "Do you think you can escape by drinking horse piss?" I nodded and chugged a can. "You're a sack of shit with no guts." I opened a fresh beer. He jumped up on the can, unzipped, and pissed in the opening with his tiny, green, slimy, stinking pecker. With my machete, I gave him a split personality, drank 9 more, blew my nose. I wrapped him with a snot, and I gave him a flush funeral. A pile of mail awaited, a Nobel Prize notification, my acceptance from the Jehovah's Witnesses, Man of the Year from Alcoholics Anonymous, acceptance into Mensa, my doctorate degree from Harvard, and an invitation to the White House. Nothing of interest. The end.
Okay.
That one had horses, had Washington, D.C., had a lot of stuff in there. I tried to have a poem there, where I'd combine all the people that we have on the show, there.
All right. Gwynnote, you're on, my friend. Gwynnote, are you still with us? Well, until he returns, Alexis, you're on.
All
no,
right.
I think let's go with Marianne. Marianne, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Marianne.
okay, yeah. I'm going to read something very different. It's a fishing poem that I should have sent to Catfish, but I hadn't written it yet. It's called Fishing Poem. The grandfather I never knew fished for hornpout in a pond I heard about but never saw. There my mother's family spent summers, less than a half-hour's drive from the city. Unless they fished in clear water, hornpout tastes like mud, which not even Graham's hand-cranked peach ice cream or Grandpa's Lucky Strike greens could disguise. I Google Ashburnham to see the pond, not quite sparkle under a brilliant sky. The surface hides mud, weeds, a murder victim. No one fishes now, and the houses for sale are far grander than that summertime shack, without electricity, without running water. The trees are smaller than they would have been before the hurricane, the year my mother turned 12, the year she stopped fishing. Okay.
You didn't say the end? No.
The end.
That's great.
Now we can talk about it now. She said the end. That was great as usual, Marianne.
Thanks.
I liked that one. I had read it. You sent it to me after the fact, but I really liked it. I had to look up that horn spout. I forgot what. Is that a mud catfish? I forgot what it was.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's a
It's bottom feed.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good
Alexis,
poem, though. I like it.
Okay.
Very nice. Alexis, you're on.
All right. I can't decide if I'm going to be romantic or really horny here. Okay, let's go with the love poem. It's called Heavyweight, Clear Vinyl, Shower Curtain, 5 stars. I disturb your shower, fresh towels, my excuse to watch you stand beneath the spray, water pouring off your hair, trickling down your shoulders, beating your studly chest. Fresh towels, the excuse for my eyes to linger at your soaked-up cock, stiff in your hand. I drop the towels, pull off my dress, press myself into the vinyl, cool to the touch. An inspired purchase, I think. You reach for my breasts, slather your face between the fogged, wet vinyl and me, mount my nipples, grip your cock harder, faster. I reach between my legs for my clit, finger myself to match your pace, your hand a blur. When your blue eyes close, I pull my fingers from inside me, push aside the curtain, slide them into your mouth, watch you lick your lips, grin. Sometimes we see right through each other. Tomorrow, I'll give the shower curtain a 5-star Amazon review as the seller, a mom and pop in Idaho, requested if I'm satisfied. The end.
That was a good one. I read that one before, too. That was a hot one.
I thought you'd like that one, Catfish.
Oh, yeah. I think I put that somewhere.
Right.
I think it was in Ramingo's Porch in one of the print shops.
Yeah.
It was first published there. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew I
That's where you read it. Yeah,
okay.
Mercedes Biondo did that.
All right, very nice. Very nice. I'd like to recite a piece, or share a piece. The title is Shelling Beans. Has anyone had to shell any beans or shuck any corn or do anything like that in their lifetime?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Great, great, great.
I'm a cook.
And did you...
I like cooking.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Alexis.
I said I'm a cook. I do all of that.
Okay. All right. So we are simpatico. All right. I wrote this piece about 25 years ago, and it was a tribute to my mother, who lives in Highport, North Carolina. She just turned 81 yesterday.
Ooh.
And I wrote this for her, but I think the message is universal. And again, it's titled Shelling Beans. In a small southern town, not too far from the one that you no longer claim, I recently visited my mama. I needed to get away from the maddening crowd, the boastful talking aloud, but I am no longer what I once was. I left that back there just because. I needed to see her face, behold the originator of a race. I need to let my mama know that her son was truly on the go. You see, in the grand scheme of life, mine was clearly without strife, had overcome that small-town mentality, embraced big city formality of the giant of men, degreed and all too big to fall. I want to let my mama know that had become all that and more. In the kitchen there she sat, big, beautiful, black and fat, smiling from ear to ear. Her baby was home. Too long had he been gone. God's done come, old cousin Nessie snickered. You see, some of her boys were in jail, so jealousy oft-time flickered. Mama, in a loud voice I proclaim, for you, the world I've tamed. I'm bigger than big, bolder than bold. When I walk, my ways paved with silver and gold. So ask me, Mama, about the places I've been and the people I've seen. You need some money? Hey, here is yours. My pockets are filled with green. Come, son, she said in a voice both nice and sweet. Come sit here at the table and help your mama while she's still able. Child, what a day I've seen. Grab that sack and help shell these beans. Mama said with an incredulous voice, I came back here by choice. I've been out walking with kings and queens. I don't remember anything about shelling beans. You see, shelling beans is for the common man. I gave that up when I left the land. So ask me, Mama, about my plate of riches. You need a new dress? I'll buy you one with gold stitches. She looked at me in her wise old way. Although I did not know exactly what she would say, I knew that it would contain the wisdom of the ages. You see, she lived a good life. Therefore, her life book was full of pages. She said, son, don't you ever forget, no matter how big you get, that life's about more than being able to walk with kings and queens. Life's about remembering how to do the common and simple things like shelling beans. You see, shelling beans is a time-honored task. And if you don't remember how, then I should have never asked. But it means you've forgotten that true wealth comes from the fruit of the earth. From anyplace else, what is its real worth? So, my son, tell me your story. Is it only of the riches and the glory, or is it also of remembering how to do the common and simple things like shelling beans, in addition to all that you've seen? Mama said, in a sheepish voice, that trembled but not by choice, I do remember. So I grabbed that sack and helped shell those beans, and we shelled what went on like ours, it seemed. But on that day, I did not mind shelling beans, because I shelled them at the feet of a queen.
Hey, man, I love the rhyme.
Yeah.
It's like rhythm.
Thank you.
It's almost like singing, man. I
Yeah.
love it. And that, you know, as you got more into it, your voice got more. You got more southern inflections in there.
Right.
Yeah,
well, I am from High Point, North Carolina.
You started getting North
so
Carolina.
That makes a difference. Yes. I think we have another caller. Hold on 1 minute. Caller, you're on the air, area code 310-850.
Oh, that's me. The call failed. This is Alexis, and I had to call back. So
Okay.
that's what happened.
All right, Alexis. I think this is going to be the last round. Catfish for you.
Okay,
all right?
I'm going to read
ready?
one. It's a story, and it's...
Well, before you read, one question for you before you read.
Yeah.
What is the most difficult part of your artistic process?
The most difficult part?
Yes.
There is nothing difficult about it, man. I mean, it's natural. It's like falling out of bed, now. It's nothing difficult about it. I mean, you send it out and get a reject and fix it up and send it out again, and nothing bad about it. Nothing until I get it where I want it, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm going to
right.
This is a little, I call it prose poem, but Antler, our first poet laureate here in Milwaukee, he said this was the best thing I ever wrote, and he put me in for pushcards and I don't know, all a poet laureate here in Milwaukee and all this stuff. It's called Water. The old man approached 80 years with no trepidation. The shadows crept closer, challenging the sun. Death was a black widow slinking across its web. Getting into the ancient whaling boat, he pointed the prow west. The oars fit his hands like a woman. As land disappeared, icebergs with seals catching fish and polar bears catching seals floated by. He paid no attention, concentrating on the foggy horizon. The farther the watery path took him, the stronger he felt. Gnawing on dried blubber, he tossed chunks to passing seagulls. The sun and wind furrows that plowed his face and surrounded his eyes vanished. His vision became clear and strong. Muscles in his arms and legs and back bulged with an energy almost forgotten. Where land had once bridged a massive migration, only the sea existed. 57 miles across the Bering Sea passed in the blink of an eye. Years dropped from the man like layers of skin on an onion. As he reached the tundra-laden shore, his language had left behind with his old body. A young man leaped from the boat. A red wine strength throbbed throughout him. His journey beckoned him south and west. For many miles he saw nothing. Then he noticed the tracks of wolves. He was no longer alone, and yet he felt no fear. Cracking ice from a pond, he drank deeply. That night, sleeping under a billion diamonds, he knew it would be his last as a man. The wolves, content on an easy breakfast, bounded down onto the man. His transformation into a caribou took less than a second. Striking out with sharp hoofs, it sent several wolves tumbling and howling in pain. The caribou floated up from the ground and flew faster than lightning. It looked down at villages and rivers blurring below. The snow-topped mountains grew up from the earth towards the heaven. A cold rain fell onto a orange, azure, turquoise painted stream. A monolithic temple loomed above everything. Monks in saffron-colored robes followed each other in solemn order. Workers drove herds of yaks, goats, and some carried woven baskets of fish and cackling poultry. Others bore large bundles of wood tied together on their backs. The caribou deincarnated into a hummingbird and watched the scenes from above. It was tiny enough to escape scrutiny. Flying into an open window in the temple, it followed more steps on its pre-adorned path. On the exquisitely carved jade pedestal, a golden aura emanated. A gaunt, parchment-skinned monk opened the ruby and emerald encrusted amphora that exuded almost blinding light. It contained 3 hairs from Buddha. The hummingbird reached its final metamorphosis, a perfect snowflake. It floated down gently from above and settled, glistening on the hairs of Buddha, and melted. The end.
Wow.
Incredible.
Good. That's good.
I think that is potentially the perfect place for us to end tonight.
Okay.
Honoring Catfish and with Bernard and Alexis and Marianne and Hiram in the background. I want to thank everybody for being on the show tonight. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All
Thank
right.
you
It
for
was a
having us.
pleasure.
Yes,
Thanks,
well, have a
ladies.
great evening, everybody.
Thank you, Michael.
All
Take
right.
care.
It was an honor, Catfish. All right,
Yep.
my friend.
Always is. Always an honor with you, buddy.
Well, thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Good night.